So the other day, I was sitting with my mom in the car and I was trying to figure out a video idea, just something to do over the weekend. I don't have any plans. I wanted to stay home and read a romance novel. And she came up with the genius idea of her and my dad going to the thrift store and finding a collection of books, romance books, was my stipulation for me to read. Now, they could pick whatever they wanted, which they were both diabolical, so let me tell ya, I'm afraid. So last night and this morning, they went to, I guess, a couple of thrift stores, picked out some books, and I had them vlog their experience and also show and explain why they picked these books. So I'm gonna watch that little mini vlog. Y'all are gonna see that. Y'all are gonna see my reaction, and we are just gonna see what happens. And then I'm gonna read them, or read some of them, depending how many they got. I'm actually really nervous. I'm more nervous about this than like an Emma drinking by my shelf love/hate challenge video. Because Emma tries to do me, she tries to like kind of mess with me, but my parents, they're not afraid.
So hello there. We're here as we were requested to create a special offering for our daughter. We're calling it the Parents Pick My TPR?
TBR.
Toilet Paper Read for the weekend extravaganza. We were told to pick 2 books out a piece in the
romance genre.
So we went to a very fancy bookstore called The Will of Goodwill. And the selection was awful. I couldn't believe it.
So this will be store 1.
Anyway, so you can start.
So I'll go first. So
okay.
I picked Denise Hunter's Riverbend Gap, and I only picked it because she came in search of the family she always wanted and found the kind of love she never dared imagine in their small North Carolina mountain town. And since she was born in a small little North Carolina mountain town. Mm-hmm. Her boyfriend lives in a North Carolina mountain town. And so it just seemed to be like, kismet, that this should be the one that I picked.
Very similar because, our daughter was technically not born in a North Carolina mountain town. She was technically born on a mountaintop in Tennessee. Just over the border. And believe it or not, just not very far from the birthplace of Daniel Boone. I'm going to start with something. My first book is something that I think...
Picked only from the cover, I'm sure.
Well, it was the very first one that looked like a romance novel. And so I was done at that point once I got it. And I got lucky. Gold mine, pretty much the only book she's going to want to read this weekend. Because, yes, I went for it. The Bride's Portion. Check her out by Susan Paul. She doesn't have a last name. She just has 2 first names. Let me tell you a little bit about it without giving too much away. The daughter of his enemy. So going through this, basically, Alex Baldwin was known as a honorable knight. Yet to Lilas, he was nothing more than a bully who had married her for her dowered lands. A man who had not only made her his prisoner, but had slowly
She's gonna love that.
and ruthlessly stolen her heart. Yes, this is about torture, mayhem, and love.
Okay, so on to the next store.
Did I not say that they were gonna mess with me? Okay, we'll talk about all the books. I will get all the books that are downstairs with my mother once I've watched the second video. Okay, this is from this morning.
Hey there, welcome to day 2 of the Emma's Parents PBR, pick a book to read, PBR.
TBR.
Oh, pick a book, TBR.
To be read.
PBR is something else. To be drank. PBR, to be read. We had to go to multiple thrift stores to find books that were proper for her second read. So I will begin. And this is not just a romance. This is a super romance. Yes, it is Hush Little Baby by Judith Arnold, another author with 2 first names. Yes, this is, and it's also not just a super romance, but it's a Harlequin. And the beauty of that is, as I recall, my mother-in-law would always read Harlequin romances. So I think this is fitting. It probably runs in the family now. It's genetic. Let me tell you a little bit about this book. It's sometimes a man needs help learning to be a dad. That's what the daddy school is all about. Enjoy.
I chose The Last Carolina's Sister, another romance book set in a small North Carolina town, keeping with the first one. And this one has to do with an ER doctor who comes to the small town hoping to heal and then return back to the big city. But of course, we could probably guess what happens. That he's not going to return back to the big city, but he's going to fall desperate in love with Meredith, who apparently has something to do with some kind of animal shelter and a farm she has. So another North Carolina small town girl who's, finds the true love of her life.
Wow. A theme romance Noah weekend. But wait, there's a bonus buy because we thought she would need a bonus read. And so the mother, she picked this up. And this was going to be originally her second book.
It was.
And it's simply called The Perfect Match.
About a woman firefighter.
Oh, a female firefighter in a small town, I think.
The chief of the fire department.
Yeah, she's actually the temporary chief. But when someone begins setting deadly fires, she has the biggest challenge of her life, especially when sparks fly with one of the volunteers on her crew.
The local pastor.
Pastor Dan Matthews. So we go on to look, and it says, so it's
a library book. I noticed that it was a library book.
So then we noticed it's a library book.
But then it's a library book.
But it's a library book from the First Baptist Church of West Columbia, South Carolina. And it was last checked out in, I think, 2005 by a group and several lovely ladies. So this will be a nice bonus read.
Yes.
Can't wait to hear.
Can't wait to see which one she picks.
Okay, I'm gonna go get the books.
What do you
You're
mean?
wild!
Wild? Or are we wild?
Oh my gosh. Your picks are insane. Mom's picks are kind of normal.
Mine tended to be the first one I saw.
Your dad went for the craziest thing he could find. I was going for a theme.
I can see that.
Yes.
You're the theme.
All right, well, I'm gonna, I guess, choose from these and pick
Sadly.
a couple.
Well, actually, I'm sorry because I missed
He
one.
forgot one already.
What?
Oh, I didn't plan on buying this. I totally forgot it. So, you can choose another. This is a
Oh, a cowboy.
rugged defender.
A cowboy romance.
And it's a murder, but it's murder in Montana. And it's also a Harlequin. Now, it's a basic. It's not a super romance like the other one. However, the selling part of this is the cowboy's name is Justin Calhoun. And it's certain that Chloe Clementine is the one who got away. So with those characters.
Oh, crap.
Okay.
Add a twist.
I did not go for the Viking romance. I came that close, but I did that.
Alrighty. Editing Emma here. I originally had a clip here from right after that last moment where I showed you all of the books and just gave you like the publishing date, gave you some context, but I have now realized that there was a huge piece of hair in frame on my phone, apparently, and that is gross and weird. So I'm going to refilm it. It doesn't really matter because all I was doing was giving you context. So basically, the books are B.J. Daniels' Rugged Defender. This book came out in 2018 and runs at about 250 pages. Also have Hush Little Baby. The only thing I say of note about this book in this clip originally was, can you imagine being this baby model and someone asks you like what you did as a kid, and you had to be like, I was a baby model for romance covers. The Embarrassment and Shame. This book came out in 2001 and runs at about 295 pages. Then we have The Perfect Match, which came out, I think, in 2004 and runs at about 330 pages. Then we have the sort of stunning cover that is The Bride's Portion, came out in my birth year, 1995, and runs at about 293 pages. Then we have The Last Carolina Sister, which came out in 2021, so modern, at 350 pages. And then finally, we have Riverbend Gap, the only hardback, by Denise Hunter, which came out in 2021 as well and is at 310. So that's what we're looking at. And then basically what I did after that point was I tried to find audiobooks, because you guys know how I am. I live for an audiobook, so I tried to find audiobooks for all the modern ones. This had a 10-week wait, so that didn't happen. The other ones didn't have audiobooks, but I did manage to find this one at my library. And the next clip you will see is me starting this beauty. Okay, no hair. Enjoy the rest of the video. I am a half an hour into The Last Carolina Sister, listening at 2.4. That's gonna go up, most likely. Thoughts on it so far? Very early in, but it is fine. We have our main character. She is a volunteer dog person. She runs a shelter, and she's seen in her small town as like the spinster, even though she's 27, which is almost the same age as me, and that's like annoying. And everybody wants to date her because she's a spinster. I don't know. I'm confused. She's the only single woman in this town, but there are single men. I don't know. But there's this guy living next door. He just moved in for like a few weeks. He's a doctor. He was injured at his big city job and just is getting away to recover. And they're obviously going to fall in love. Anyway, that's where we're at. So now though, I am going to get cuddled up. I'm going to put maybe a coffee shop sounds video, maybe the Winter Olympics on, and I'm going to read one of these books physically, and I will let you know in a moment. I'm between one of the two cursed books. Oh god, this is so hard. That is like biggish type. That is pretty small type. What is this type situation? See, I don't think I'll hate this. I think this will be, like, have a good plot. So, you know what? We're gonna do... I'm gonna try to read this. I'm gonna try. Oh my god, this is tough. Okay. Daddy school. Look at this. Nightmare. I'm only on basically page 2. And the girl was captured by twins. The names in this book are unbelievable. Specifically, the twins. Their names are Hugh and Hugo. The 11th century version of Not Like Other Girls is, any other female of his acquaintance would now be in a puddle of tears at his feet. But if Lilith could behave calmly and reasonably, so much the better for all concerned. She's not like other girls. She has been kidnapped because the man of the house thinks her daddy's gonna go to war, but she's being nicely kidnapped. So it's complicated. And I think it would be justified for her to be screaming and crying and throwing up. The guy she's supposed to marry for political reasons that her daddy wants her to marry is named Jason. Just notice the back. I'm sort of obsessed. I think it's kind of good, actually. My dad made me some hot chocolate. Honestly, I thought it'd be way worse. So far, not that bad. I'm on page 50. The names still are a little weird. Justin. You know, I know that these names could be medieval names, but just like Justin is just not one that I would think, you know? And Barbara. On page 84, we've hit the marriage by convenience. Obviously, they were gonna have to get married in order to not go to war. It's just the drama. Like, there's just drama. Also, the first book I've ever read where people have to watch their consummation in order for the marriage to be legal, because it's, you know, medieval times. Still so here for this Joni Mitchell looking woman. Because our main character is not like other girls, medieval edition, she is like, I'm not beautiful. Of course, like, look at her. Look at Joni Mitchell here. She's beautiful. And he's describing her to her, and he says, your hair is the color of stars, Lilith. Your skin is smooth and rabbit's fur. That's just what it is. White and smooth and soft, like a white rabbit's fur. Ladies, if your man isn't saying that your skin is like rabbit's fur, does he love you? It's 5:48, halfway through-ish. We have a love square happening. Love that. And also this line was just said by our main character. He said, my very talented, impressive lady wife. But he said it coldly. So, something about that. Just interesting. I've said that you may take lovers, but I'll not be cuckolded by my own brother. This book was written in 1995. Weird. I've read other romance written in the 90s, mostly Nora Roberts, and I think it's because it's a historical, but what the fuck is going on? Drama. I don't know if it's that I just don't read a lot of historical romances. I read a lot of Regency historical romances, but the drama in this book, it's not the 11th century, by the way. It's the 15th century. Anyway. It is 7:45, and I finished The Bride's Portion by Susan Paul, picked out by my father. As you could see while reading this book, this was a wild, dramatic ride full of so many twists and turns. I would get kind of bored and then something wild would happen. Some crazy plot point, some betrayal, just something would happen and I'd get back into it. So I read it very quickly for like a 300-page book, quite fast. I really enjoyed the main character. She was really exciting and fun and very like firm in what she wanted and what she believed in. I had trouble with the main guy character. You know, this is a marriage by convenience, but it's a marriage by force more than anything else. Like, she doesn't really have a choice and he doesn't give her a choice. And I get that, like, he is worried about his people in his village, in his land, having starving because her father cuts off the water source. So I get that, but it's just like makes it very uncomfortable to read their romance basically until the very, very end. And even then it's not really resolved. Having said that though, I was not surprised because look at this book. This is a classic 90s romance, kind of what I expected, but I was very entertained and I did have a good time. Still have the coffee shop music in the background. I'm gonna have a little bit of wine. Have some wine and take a bath and start another book in the bath. So I have to decide between these three. I have the 2 North Carolina books on my floor. The 1 North Carolina book I have on audio. I started that, y'all know that. The other one I don't want to read while I'm listening to that one because I think they're just going to be too similar. So I could read the other like deranged book, but I think I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to pick between one of these. This one, I fear will be boring. I think we're going to try Rugged Defender. I think I could probably finish this tonight. I say that, but I also like think I'll get sleepy and not finish this tonight. But we're going to sit in the bath. We're going to read Rugged Defender by B.J. Daniels, and we're just gonna... I'm on page 60. It has pretty big type. This is very dramatic also. It's sort of a murder mystery. It's also the 3rd book in like a loose series about 3 sisters who were raised by their grandmother in a small town in Montana. And our main character gets fired from her job as an investigative reporter, moves back home. Her sisters are both there. They're obviously the protagonists of the first two books because they're both conveniently fallen in love with mountain men, are getting married and having a double wedding. So she's back. It's Christmas time, and her sort of high school crush guy, you find out 5 years prior, his older brother, who was a jerk, was killed, and his dad thinks he did it, so he like ran away and then is coming back into town. And our main character, because she's an investigative reporter, is investigating it. She starts getting weird calls being like, stop investigating this or something bad is gonna happen. This book is really strange so far because it just jumps around from person to person, but doesn't have like any way of telling you that it is. It just sort of does it kind of haphazardly, but not in like a we're all in the same scene kind of way. Every few pages, the start of another page will jump to a new character. It's a little weird. I actually also had like a chapter in here where the murderers are like talking to each other. Yeah, it's just... How did I manage to do that on the couch? I'm at this point, so I guess halfway through, and I want to show y'all what's in the halfway point. It's a Fast 5 reader survey. Do you sometimes read a book a second or a third time? Yes, I do. Do you often choose reading over other forms of entertainment such as television? Yes, I do. When you were a child, did someone regularly read out loud to you? Oh my God, my parents did. Full circle. Did you sometimes take a book with you when you travel outside the home? Of course. In addition to books, you regularly read newspapers and magazines. I read articles on the internet, so. The romance is built on the fact that they kissed one time. One time. So romance is not like deeply good, but the mystery is kind of interesting and fun. I think what's truly remarkable about this book is that both of the main characters have no personality. Outside of the plot, these people do not have personalities. They're both, I guess, determined. Like, the main character is very determined to solve this mystery. The guy, wants to be connected to his roots, but like, they don't have personalities. It's why I think reading it is so easy, because you just don't get hung up on any quirks, because there are no quirks. People are being threatened. A guy got murdered. And the main character's sisters, who are having a double wedding on New Year's, mind you, are like, do you need us to stay? We have dress fittings, but I guess we can cancel. And the main character is like, no, go to your dress fittings. I'm sorry. You cancel your dress fittings. You cancel them. You just do. And then her sisters half-heartedly are like, we'll stay with you, we'll wait until your dude shows up. But she's like, nah, I just want to think about my dude, and I don't want to think about all this murder stuff. And they're like, okay, sis. No, you wait. You're like, bitch, shut up. And then you wait. It's 10:32. I finished Rugged Defender. The mystery was very obvious, but it was enjoyable. The romance was just weak. It was just not built on anything that felt real. It was just like, felt very high school, honestly. It felt very teenage. Like, the end of the book, when they are like together, obviously, she's talking about him, and she's like, Justin was easygoing. He laughed a lot and got her sense of humor. He often broke into song, and she would join him. They found out they liked the same food, the same kind of houses, the same kind of furniture. It was almost as if they were made for each other. Who, like, same type of houses and furniture? Sure, but also weird. Did I hate this book? No. Was it as wildly entertaining as the wife's portion? No. But was I entertained? Yes. I don't know. This is just I don't know, like, it was one of the weakest romances I've ever read, but I was also, like, entertained. Like, I read it all in one sitting, so. A little orange juice. It's Saturday night. It's not like I have to get up tomorrow. I'm trying to decide if I want to start another book as I'm, getting ready for bed. I think we're gonna have to do Hush Little Baby. Because this one, I want to listen to the audiobook in the morning because I have trouble focusing on physically reading books in the morning time. Also, Magnolia Sisters. You know how I mentioned, I was like, is this like the TV show Sweet Magnolias? Different series. Also, I think the second or third book in this series, although they're not like connected that much, like they're more episodic, if you will, just a note there. And then I fear that if I start this one tonight, I will just get these two confused. So we might have to do Hush Little Baby. I have to read, y'all, the author's note from Judith Arnold. Dear reader, Levi Holt first introduced himself to me a few months ago when I was writing the previous Daddy School book, 'Tis the Season. Levi was one of the poker-playing friends of the hero of the book, and I just knew he had a story to tell me. So once I finished writing 'Tis the Season, I invited Levi into my life and what a story he told. Although he isn't technically a daddy, Levi understands the meaning of fatherhood in a remarkable way. I hope you enjoy the latest installment in the Daddy School series. Pregnant, his baby sister. Alright, so she hadn't been a baby for a long time. In her mid-20s, she reached an excellent age to get pregnant. She reached an excellent age to get pregnant? I don't even know how to talk about this. Cut the music. We were just vibing. The guy, main character gets custody of his sister who's passed away suddenly, and the baby's 6 months old. And we start the book off with this girl coming in, and she works for this guy. And the main guy character is her boss's architect, and she wants to come in with changes, but he has like the baby. Anyway, pretty normal, not super weird. And then we hit 4 paragraphs of the baby's thoughts. In the baby's head, the baby's talking. He's talking about he misses his mom and that his teeth hurt from teething. And then it ends with, maybe this other woman could make the pain go away too. Maybe she could be soft and round like his mother, with her body full of milk and lullabies on her lips. He nestled closer to the man and wished the pain would go away. What is wrong with these people? This is weird. What in the look who's talking is this? Main girl character is kind of reminiscent of like a nicer Shiv Roy. This book is more boring than the other two. It's a little drier, even with the weird baby talk. Even with the Ally McBeal, look who's talking, baby talk. It's a little more boring. I wanted to put in Hush Little Baby into Storycraft. Can I just show you the 2 results that came up? On my dirty screen. I guess this is the redone cover, which is a lot better than that horror show. But this is the other book that came up. Oh my god. When people are like, I love the smell of an old book, I want them to smell this book. It's like normal, jump scare, baby's thoughts. We've come so far in romance. So I'm like a third-ish into Hush Little Baby. I'm super tired. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I can burn through. Oh my god, I don't know if I'll be able to read everything, but maybe, honestly. I read the first 2 so quick. I just, yeah, that's better, right? I'm gonna take a shower. It's 11 a.m. I slept in because I wanted to. We're going to listen to more of this little book this morning, and I'm gonna do my little routine of playing Wordle and doing my crossword and doing Animal Crossing things and hopefully get through this. My plan is to get through this pretty quickly today, kind of on and off, and then also obviously read the Cursed Baby book and then try to get into this evening. The hair journey is strong, but I'm showered. I think I'm gonna read more of this monstrosity. I don't want to subject you to it, you know what I mean? Let's just say she's having dreams that involve the guy, and then they switch to dreams involving her maternal instincts for the baby at the same time, back and forth. I didn't think the daddy school was a place. I thought it was a concept. The daddy school is in fact a place, and we've just heard about it on page 102. So I fear we will be viewing the daddy school very soon, and whatever the hell that means. So every time the baby has thoughts, I feel myself die inside. I didn't get to see daddy school. He just described what he learned at daddy school. And I'm mad about it. Like, I actually like the characters. It's just the baby stuff that's handled in such a bizarre way. Every time I film, I'm just more and more down on the bed. I finally got to see daddy school. It wasn't that good. I finished Hush Hush. Oh, sorry. Hush Little Baby by Judith Arnold. Thoughts. Honestly, the romance was really not that bad. It was sort of sweet, like them all working together to take care of this baby. It did move really quickly, like the timeline was much shorter than I felt like it should have been. But as you well know, the baby stuff was really weird. Like, instead of it just being like a story about a guy who gets custody of his sister's baby and then this woman coming into his life and falling in love with the baby and then falling in love with him, we had the whole look who's talking thing, which I obviously hated. But it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be in terms of the romance. Like, it was a very respectful romance and sort of sweet. I don't think I'd ever read a talking baby book ever again. I think now I am actually going to listen to that audiobook for a little while, and we'll see how that goes. I don't have much to say about it. I find it fine. I just felt like I needed a change of scenery. So I'm going to come in here to talk about this book. Finished The Last Carolina Sister. The only book that I have listened to on audiobook, and I'm glad I did because it is so far the most boring of everything I've read. Is it necessarily badly written? No, I think there's elements of this book that worked for me. I liked the small town vibes. I definitely could see the fact that this is the third book in a series. The other two were integrated well as an interesting concept. My issue was that the romance was weakly built and it felt like it happened too fast and it was shaky. I also hated the main character. She was so mean and rude and I did not like her. So this is probably my least favorite one that I've read because it wasn't like bad fun like the other ones have been or surprising. This one was just like pretty boring and well written but not good either. So 5:40. I'm gonna read Riverbend Gap. This book is hardback, 300-ish pages. So I don't know when I'm gonna finish it. I don't know if for this video I'm gonna get to the perfect match. Don't think I am, most likely, unless I decide to make this into a 3-day vlog. We'll decide. It really depends on how much I don't like that book. So let's do it. We have a lot of drama in this book. Chapter 1, girl driving her car, swerves. Car starts to go down a ravine. Guess what? If she moves her body weight, she will perish. Thankfully, Guy, off-duty deputy sheriff. Why are people, Anyway, he gets out of the car and is helping her, I guess. I don't know. Why can't he be a firefighter or an EMT, you know? This book was written last year. It's not from like the 80s or 90s or early 2000s even. I'm gonna go run a bath and read in the bath because I have a massive headache. So that should help, hopefully. I'm on page 84 of Riverbend Gap. It's probably the best written book I've read so far for this video. I will say, this book is a Christian romance, not overtly so, but that is part of it, which I didn't know going in. Just something to note. Another thing is that there is a lot of drama here. Our main girl happens to be dating the brother of the man who saved her life. Now, another thing, she also happens to work for their stepsister. So just a lot of complications. So we love that. What is going on with my hair? Page 183, so I'm a little over halfway-ish, I think. Yeah. Drama. Small town drama. I don't know what else to say. That's kind of it. So, like, she doesn't have romantic feelings for the guy she's dating, the guy that she likes, brother. But she wants to, like, be connected with his family because she doesn't have a family of her own. And while I think that's a really interesting concept in a way, it's also infuriating. Like, girl, who cares? They'll get over it. Dump your guy, date his brother. Everyone will get over it in a couple years. You know what I mean? Everyone will just get over it. It's 9 p.m. We finished Riverbend Gap. This book was better than I thought it was going to be. Concept did not appeal to me in the slightest, but honestly, we had a lot of drama and intrigue and people trying to screw up his campaign, and that was kind of entertaining. I also liked the main character. I thought she was interesting. I enjoyed the back and forth. Did I agree with how their relationship came about with the fact that she's dating his brother and having feelings for him? No. But I thought the romance wasn't that bad. I thought it was kind of built out well. Like, I understood why they liked each other and I felt their chemistry. And even though this book is super PG, I understood their chemistry, if you know what I mean. It did not blow my mind. You know what I mean? Like, it was better than I expected. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, now I had a little thought with myself to decide if I was going to read this book, and because I was on the fence about it. And then I read the writer was a missionary, and that scares me. I don't particularly want to read a book where the writer was a missionary. So I think I'm not going to read this book. I don't want to do it. So I'm going to end with that. But to end this video the way it started, I am going to have my parents rank what they thought were my best to least favorite books that I did for this video. And then I'll tell y'all what it actually was. Let's go downstairs and do it. These are the 5 books that I read this weekend. You are going to rank them from best to worst.
Wait. What constitutes best?
I liked it the best.
Oh, our guess.
Okay, our guess what you liked the best. Okay.
So Mom can do her prediction.
Am I supposed to explain why?
Yeah.
I just think this one because it has a pretty cover.
Okay.
This one because you said it was not as bad as you thought it was going to be.
Okay.
This one because, you know, it's a cowboy. You can't say bad things about a cowboy.
Yeah, okay.
This one, Just because I don't think it was that good. And this one, I'm sure you found this one appalling.
So I do the best worst. Can I do the worst?
You
I'll
can
the
do
best
you can
first.
do
Do
worse
whatever you
first.
want.
It doesn't
Yeah, I'll do
matter.
worst first. Okay. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Emma thought of the books. Obviously, this was her favorite. Who doesn't like little babies? And I picked it up. Next would be obviously this one is next because who doesn't like historical romances? And I picked it up. This one, of course, because who doesn't like a cowboy? And I also picked it up.
And you picked it out.
And then these two are tied for the worst because obviously
You didn't pick them out.
I didn't pick them out.
Apologies for the vile lighting. It's so dark in here. Okay, I'll do my best first. So this is hard because none of them were amazing.
They're all awful.
No, they weren't awful. But none of them were like mind-blowingly good. But in terms of enjoyment of me, this one was the most enjoyable for the absolute lunacy that was this book. Honestly, a very close second was Riverbend Gap because it was the best written out of all of them. I think the writing was pretty good. So this honestly was a very close second. Next, for enjoyment, these two are tied. These two are tied.
The Hush Baby and the Cowboy.
Are you kidding me?
For enjoyment. This had one element that they don't know about because they have not watched the video yet, obviously, because it's not out. One element that would have made this book #1, but made this book much lower in my esteem because it was disturbing. But the romance and the vibes were good. So this one was very badly written, but deeply entertaining. So while the writing was not good, it was entertaining. Honestly, this is probably the worst in this group. This is actually probably third and this is fourth because the writing just wasn't very good. Romance was terrible. And then finally, this book was so boring. This book was so boring. It's a cute cover, but it was so boring. I was bored out. And it's the only one I listened to on audiobook. So it's saying something that I found this one to be the worst because I thought it was so boring. So that is my list.
I thought the baby one was going to be just grotesque.
Oh, don't worry. It did have some of the most disturbing crap I've ever read in a book that freaked me out and scared me, but it wasn't all bad. So, okay. Thank you, parents. You want to outro my vlog?
Next week we get to pick murder mysteries.
Dad?
Books about meteorology and the weather.
Okay. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye.